Okay, well, here we are, UTEP week. It's been a fast season, getting ready to go into week 11 right now. But we've got a great opportunity, playing a rival game. I believe it's our 102nd matchup with these guys. So the game's been played for a long time. It's got a great history and tradition. I've played in it, been involved in it as a player and as a coach now. So I understand how important it is to the region and the area and the two universities. So we're excited to get back out there. Both teams are in a similar situation. We're both fighting to, obviously win a rival game, but also fighting to get a good taste back in your mouth after a tough season. So, we had a great talk with our guys last night. Guys were locked in, did a great job in the film session and the lift. Today's their day off, and we'll keep our heads down, and we'll keep grinding away, and excited to get on the practice field for tomorrow.
Questions?
Just Coach Sanchez, you kind of touched on it there. Both teams kind of in similar spots, from the outside looking in. It's like, oh, they're 2-7, 3-8, whatever. But what for you guys, just what do you feel like you guys are playing for to these last two games?
First and foremost, you're playing for another W. You're playing for a win, and obviously you're playing for a rivalry win. And I talked to our guys about it yesterday. It's like, there are some things in the offseason we'll look back on and we'll talk about, but today's not the time. This is not for right now. We have to focus in on the task at hand. That's beating UTEP, the game right in front of our face. We literally got to take it one day at a time, and I think if we hunker down and we do those things, it'll give us the best opportunity to be in the right mental state to go win a football game.
Logan, Ryan, and Tyler, how are all those guys doing right now?
Logan's good. Yeah, Logan was in last night limping around. He got beat up a little bit, but he's doing good. Ryan, we won't know until later in the week. We're hoping we have Ryan back, so he's questionable right now. And then you asked about Tyler Martinez.
Tyler.
Yeah, no, Tyler's out. So we'll again, it's one of those deals where. He's a warrior, he's doing everything he can to get back, but he's just not ready yet.
So Logan's going to start Saturday, because he's 100% and he's good now?
We'd assume so,
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, unless something happens or something deviates, Adam did a good job too, and he showed that he's got a live arm and can do some good things, so I think they're going to have to prepare for both.
Coach, in a rivalry game where one or two drives can swing momentum, what's the main area of improvement you want to see from your team this week in practice?
Well, we know it from last year. I mean, we outgained them 540 yards to 298. We had 33 first downs. They had 14. We had the ball for 40 minutes. They had the ball for 20 minutes. I mean, we really dominated, both sides of the ball. Unfortunately, we had two fumble, scoop, and scores and a punt return for a touchdown. I mean, that literally flipped the entire game. When you go back and you look statistically in that game, it's crazy to think you lost that game, right? So we understand how important the plays are. We talked about it yesterday. One time, we won't speak about last year's game again, but there's a bad taste in our mouth from it. It has been the entire off season, because we know, again, it is what it is. It's history, but we know that if you play like that, you should win that football game. But turnovers come into effect, like you said, a couple of plays, a bounce here and there. We have to control the controllables. We've turned the ball over quite a bit lately. We've got to do a better job offensively of not turning the ball over. We moved the ball this last week against Tennessee 9 times. We crossed the 50-yard line. Should have put way more points on the board. We're capable of doing it. We've got to finish those things off. And then defensively, again, just taking the momentum from this last week. I mean, you look at the score and you go, oh, wow, they got them pretty good. But defensively, really, in the first half, all 3 were detrimental plays. I mean, the touchdowns that they scored, they were all defensive breakdowns, and if you just eliminate those things, make them earn, their keep, and we got to do the exact same thing this week and just be a little bit more Simon Sound on the defensive side of the ball, and the offensive side of the ball, no turnovers, and just have more urgency when we cross the midfield.
Coach, just what are you seeing from UTEP from your perspective?
Yeah, Scotty's got a lot of energy. Those guys play with a lot of energy. They do have a lot of razzle-dazzle. I mean, you get ready, because they're going to line up in all kinds of different formations, motions, and shift. They're going to do a lot of different things. I mean, they probably run more trick plays than anybody that we've seen this year, and that's offense and, special teams. They're going to, but they play a lot of energy. Skylar Locklear is a good football player. He really is the engine that makes their whole thing go, Obviously, making that quarterback change was it looks like it was the right decision, because he's kind of ignited those guys. You got to be careful with him, because he doesn't so much with his feet. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously he's a good thrower and everything, but when I watch the film on him, I just look at him and go like, damn, that's a good football player. So we got to know where he is. We have to take care of him. We have to make sure that we don't allow him to extend things, and that's kind of where he kind of does his best when things break down. And that's kind of where he makes his money. So again, looking at him, and then defensively, they just play hard. You know what I'm saying? They're just got a bunch of solid players in there. They run around on defense and play hard. They're going to kind of mix things up between dropping 8 and bringing pressures, and we just got to do a good job of just getting settled in, and and we got to be able to run the football against them. People have been able to run the ball. We've had glimpses here and there. We just have to be more consistent in it.
Coach, both rival games this year on the road. Last year they're both at home.
Yeah.
Year before that, both on the road. Do you wish it was like a kind of 1-1, or do you like?
Yeah, you wish it was 1-1, and unfortunately we're not going to play UTEP for a while now, you know what I'm saying? So this game's even more important, the brass platoon and, and things like that. It's like, because of them leaving, conferences and, prior schedules and, a lot of different things. But, it's a shame it's not played every year, but, this is an important game to go out and get a win. I'm sure they're saying the exact same thing because it's one that we're going to have to put on hold for a little bit till we figure schedules out.
Are you confident that it is going to happen between UTEP and MSU, that they are going to work something out, an agreement to play?
It's all finances, so it's like, again, that's, more for the athletic directors to go through, but you have to make sure that it makes sense, and again, you don't want to give up games that are, important to you as you're building and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So, again, one day, and hopefully sooner than later, that game will get back on track. You have got to work some things out, and it's got to make sense. It's hard when you have two rivalry games that are both out of your conference.
Right.
It chews up 50% of your non-conference schedule, which is very unique.
Yeah.
Donovan, you've been here since you started your collegiate career. You've played in these games against UTEP. Can I ask what the rivalry means to you, and I guess how you're feeling heading into Saturday's matchup?
I just say the ultimate bragging rights. I mean, they're only 40 minutes away. We run into them pretty often. Like, I know a few UTEP players, so it's just ultimate bragging right. Just motivation, especially from last year. Bad taste in our mouth, and we're just going into this with confidence and just ready to go handle business, really.
Yeah, UTEP's got the second best passing defense in the conference. Just how exciting is that, or how do you feel about that challenge that awaits you guys on the offensive side of the ball?
I'm always excited. It's good competition. Just go out there, do what we're coached to do, and the outcome will be good.
Just kind of staying with Donovan, you had 3 games where you had over 80 receiving yards, and then I believe it was, against Tennessee, I think you garnered 80 receiving yards, I think is what it was. Just how, obviously, playing like that against an SEC team and being able to just produce that many in the air, just how do you feel that boost of confidence is just going to help you just finish on a high note here?
Of course, I mean, going to SEC country always was big for me. I want to put on a show, and but I already knew I could do that on that level. So I mean, I would say it gave me confidence, but it kind of just instilled the confidence I already knew I could do and had. So just carry that through the rest of the season, really.
Naten, just looking at UTEP's offense, you kind of heard Coach Sanchez just mention what they do well. How are you guys feeling heading into the matchup against the Miners offense, who does a lot of unique things and everything?
Yeah, we're feeling confident, man. We know they got a fast quarterback, so we know we got to eliminate him. But we're excited. They pass the ball a lot, they run the ball a lot, they got a lot of different things they can do. So I mean, we're prepared for anything, and we're just ready to go in there with our head on straight.
Knowing it's the last time New Mexico State and UTEP will play for at least the foreseeable future, what's kind of the feeling in the locker room for Saturday's game?
No, it's personal, man. Especially how we lost last year. Nobody's happy about that. I've been here for 3 years, so I know how personal it gets for the fans as well. I know the communities get into it as much as we do. So I mean, I'm excited to see how many fans are going to be in there, and it's going to be a great game, and we're ready for it.
Tony, so after the Tennessee game, you had a nice chat with Starr after the game. Just what was that like, and just tell me about that conversation?
Yeah, I mean, we had some good moments here, for 2 years, being with Starr. And he was actually here through spring football too, before he ended up, transferring to Duke, after, I guess that was 2023, right, going into the 24 season. Mm-hmm. So he's a great kid. At the end of the day, there's been so much turmoil in college football, and at first the angst of it all kind of gets you a little bit, but then as time's gone on, and you kind of see the landscape, and you see the pressure on these young men and stuff like that. You just, you wish them all the best. And it was really good to see him. Me and him had a really good relationship the entire time that he was here. And again, it was good to see him. It's good to see him having, some success. And, since he's left, he's had a child, he's a dad now, and, he's doing good. So it's just, it's good to see him.
It's kind of a situation where, like, you're happy for the guys and you hope they do well, but also you kind of still wish they were here and doing stuff for your team.
Yeah, well, you got new guys, so you kind of move on. The biggest thing I see is guys cutting their careers a little short. You see a lot of guys that make decisions for, and I get it, for some money, but then they go into situations where they don't have the same success, where they don't have the same opportunities that they had when they are at other places. So you go like long term when it comes to your career. Well, how did that affect you? Probably affect them just as much as it affected us. Some guys yes, some guys no. So it just kind of all depends. But so I mean, again, I'm talking about everyone. not just, Star,
Right.
Star's doing a good job and stuff. So again, honestly, I worry about the guys. I mean, you love the people that have been part of your past and
Right.
stuff, coaches, players, and things like that. But my daily concern is, the young men in that locker room that I'm coaching right now, the guys that we're riding with. You know what I'm saying? So again, I don't know if I've spent much time thinking about all that.
Naten, this goes to you. How important is communication on defense in a game like this, especially on the road in El Paso?
Oh man, it's very important. We know there's going to be a lot of people there. I know they have a big stadium, so I'm excited about that. But yeah, definitely, Coach Morris has expressed to us that we got to communicate with our hands more and make sure that our DBs know what we're calling, because it can be a big problem once you don't make signals or give communication across the board. So I mean, yeah, we're prepared for that, and it's going to be exciting.
Nate, early on in the season, you were consistent with just producing double-digit tackles, and then against Tennessee, you had 9 total tackles. Just how did it feel to get that production back?
I mean, it's a blessing. I work my tail off to make plays, and once I can go out there and put it on display, it's exciting for sure. Being able to go out there and produce for my team, it's a blessing.
Coach Sanchez, just the question I asked Donovan, just playing UTEP's pass defense. I guess just how do you guys feel heading into?
Well, we've been pretty consistent throwing the football. I mean, we threw the ball well against, a Tennessee team this last week. We've thrown the ball we've thrown the ball well, throughout the course of the season. I mean, we're sitting there, we're probably, we have a chance to approach 3,000 yards by the end of the year. So they do a good job of it. We do a good job of throwing it around the yard. We have a really talented, receiving and tight end core. So again, I think the biggest thing is going to be us, making some headway in the run game, right? And we do that. That'll allow us to throw the ball, So again, we like some of the matchups, and they've done a good job, And I think part of that the past defense is people have been able to run the ball well against them, So it's kind of leaned towards the run game a little bit more than the pass game against them. But you watch this Missouri State film, this last game they played. Those guys they did a good job of throwing the ball down the field and creating some explosive plays. And if you're going to win a game like this, you're going to have to take advantage of that.
Coach, you guys have the chance to finish on a higher note than last year. Just can you speak on the importance of finishing and strong?
Yeah, again, it's one game at a time. But I was, at home last night talking to Gloria, and I was telling her, I said, the thing about it is I would love to go into this off season carrying the weight of what could have been. I want that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you want to sit there ticked off because you were one short. You know what I'm saying? That's okay. I'd rather live with that. You know what I'm saying? And so it's, what are we playing for? Man, we're playing for our university. We're playing for the seniors that are leaving. Some of these guys, it'll be the last football they ever play. Some guys will get a chance to go to a camp and maybe go on. Most won't if you look at statistics, right? And then at the same time, those seniors, what are you leaving for the future of this program? What are you leaving for the guys that are going to, still be here? We know we've made headway. We know we're a more talented roster. We know we're a more competitive roster. Things haven't completely gone the way we wanted to, and you're just talking about a play here and there, and it's a whole different feeling, right? But reality is it's not. So the biggest thing is us digging down, caring about each other, caring about this team, caring about this university, making sure that we play with a whole lot of pride and a whole lot of grit. We've shown that. We even showed it last week, So if we can continue to do that, I think we can, finish this season strong. I think we have an opportunity to go in the offseason with some momentum and send the seniors out the right way, and then them leaving something for these guys to fight with that are left behind.
Coach, I know you talked a little bit about it on Saturday, but what did you make out of David Barker's performance?
Yeah, again, his first game, I thought that, he went out, obviously he made a field goal, right? And then, we missed an extra point. So you're just talking about 2 kicks, you know what I'm saying? He had a young freshman who did all the kickoffs for us, and I thought he performed pretty well. So we're going to have competition this week in practice, you know what I'm saying? So those two are going to have to get after it, and we'll see who gives us the best chance. And, and hopefully Ryan's healthy. Ryan's obviously shown, he's a capable guy, but he's battling through some injury stuff right now. So whoever gives us the best chance to win the game, that's who's going to play.